It's a bull. Hey, good morning. It's Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. As you know, I've got the Miami Coral Cam, the live Miami Coral Cam up right now. This is one of our South Florida live cams here. And always looking for new live cams. I'm looking for anything in the Everglades, anything that has to do with water and nature, and some cool shots. So if you got any suggestions for my future live cams, please put them in comments. Well, let's take a look and see what's happening today. Oh, look at that big, beautiful fish. Wow, pretty cool. Let's take a look at spot prices. We are up today, folks. Actually, a few bucks, too. Not too bad. I like these little climbs. I don't like $50 moves and $25 moves, up or down. But let's take a look. Actually, I like them down because you can tell it's manipulated and it's monkey hammered. If you see steps down over a period of time, that's usually not a good sign. Overnight, 1801. Let me just blow that up a little bit for you there. 1801 as a high 1809 where it's currently at. 1809.73, and silver 23.57 and a high of 23.89, nearing that $24 mark again. And platinum down a couple bucks, which concerns me a slight little bit. Maybe not an awful lot. I shouldn't worry about it, but I noticed that for the last couple big downs in gold, which kind of took silver down as well. Platinum seemed to telegraph it by a couple days or 2 or 3 days or a week or something like that. Platinum is down for a little bit while the other metals were up slightly or about sideways. So I see platinum down a little bit today, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's easy when you look at these markets like I do. This is my job every day, Mondays through Fridays, pretty much. When the markets are open, I'm looking at gold markets early in the morning and sometimes in the evening too. Just to check and see what's happening. So it's a 24-hour, 5-day-a-week job for me to follow these markets like this. So I spot these little patterns. For me, it's kind of easy over the years. I've spotted a lot of different patterns. For example, like silver closing a little bit each for the last 2 weeks after gold got monkey hammered. I noticed that silver was getting hammered in the New York markets. Not much, but 10 cents, 15 cents, 25 cents a whack, maybe a 50-cent whack. That's what kind of took it down from the 25, 24 area back, almost to the 22 area. But again, patterns are pretty easy to notice when you stare at something over and over and over. It's like watching your child grow. All of a sudden you see a big growth on the side of their face. It's pretty damn obvious. Well, maybe not if it goes slowly. However, but these markets I'm watching every day. And I'm just kind of thinking that platinum is kind of acting a little bit weird being down like this. No less, I like seeing these markets up. But don't get lured into a false sense that these can't get monkey hammered down once again, which, again, as I said, simply buys you the opportunity to buy at a lower price, gives you a great opportunity to buy the frickin' dip. I believe that the Fed will never run out of ammo per se. Central banks won't run out of ammo as far as being able to create dollars out of thin air to buy gold that doesn't exist or sell gold that doesn't exist. However, we know all about that stuff. Let's move on to something else I thought was pretty cool. It's the gold to silver ratio here. I like macro trend charts. The only thing I see, the only issue I have here is they don't do a daily chart. But heck, this is good enough for me. Macro trends shows recessions. You can turn recessions on and off. And as you can see right there, I'm in the 5-year chart. But if I go to the 30-year chart, you'll see all the different recessions. And you'll see something in common here. Market's up, market's on its way up. And there you go, market's down, but going back up again. So this is kind of a weird thing. But let's take a look at this chart. You see that high right there? I wanted to point something out. Currently today, just to let you know, on a daily basis, I last look, it's about 75 to 1, thereabouts. It's down a little bit from where it was. I think it was a little bit higher than that early last week. No less, let's look at the 5-year chart here. Oh, hold on. Let's just look at the 30 years, all-year chart. The different... I'm going to hit that spike right there. April 2020, silver and gold was at 114 to 1 ratio. It was actually a little bit higher than that, as high as 120 something to 1 during intraday trading. I suspect they're using the closes on here, maybe London closes or something. So at a high, April 2020 of 115 to 1 on that chart right there. Let's go over and look at the gold and silver chart. And lo and behold, let's go to March April. Where's April? April 2020. Look at that spread right there. That pretty much explains what happened. Gold had already rocketed up to what? We're taking a look at there, $1,700 an ounce. Silver was sitting at $15 an ounce. That is when we had that incredibly high. And again, let's take a look. April 20th, you see gold's at 1716 right up there. I'm sorry, I can't move that around too much. And silver at 1496. Now let's go back to chart and look at April 20th again. And what do you see right there? You see the gold and silver ratio just absolutely crazy. Now, you're probably going to ask me, what does this mean? I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know exactly. Well, I kind of do. I spot some patterns going on here, and you probably do as well. Let's take a look at the height of the market here, which would have been 1970. Let's say 1970, and silver was at 24.22. And this is July 2020, before we had that fall in the price of gold and silver as well. Let's go over to, again, this is the gold and silver. Silver at 24.22, gold at 1971, July 2020. Let's take a look at that gold and silver ratio chart here. July, oh, here, sorry about that. And you know what? 5 year, I need a 5 year. July 2020, where do we go? Here we are. June and July 2020. At the height of the market last year, July 2020, when gold was at $1,900 plus range, and silver was at the, what was silver at the time, 24.25, and higher actually. The ratio had decreased to 81 to 1, quite substantially. And then you'll see that the market after that, and there's a market low, August 2020. Let's take a, here's your ratio was 68 to 1. I guess that was, well, not quite the low, but almost 65 to 1 in February. But let's look at this after this kind of crash in the gold to silver ratio, 68 to 1. Let's look what happens with the price of gold and silver, August 2020. We'll go back over here, compare the two charts. Actually, if I was smart, I'd put the two charts on the same screen, wouldn't I? Oh, I got to figure out how to do that. Sorry about that. I'll figure that out later. Gold 1580, and hang on, what were we just talking about? Gosh darn it, I just lost my train of thought there. October. Sorry about that. Let's go back to that last. What date was that? And August 2020. Let's take a look at August 2020 here. Yeah, I'm getting older. June, July, August 2020. Look at that peak. 28.56, and of course we know it went over 30 in 1970, and I believe it was over that. I'm trying to figure out where they got these gold and silver prices, because I'm pretty sure it was higher than that at the peaks. But no less, this gives you a really good representation of what was going on there when you were looking at the gold and silver ratio. So the gold and silver ratio got down to its lowest, its closest here in August 2020, right at that peak in 1970, 1950, and 28.56. And where did it go from there shortly after? Oddly enough, both metals went down substantially. And what was the gold to silver ratio during that period? I don't see it right here. And let's take a look. 22.55, 17.79, 86. That was that first drop we seen in November 20. Let's take a look at that November 20th. March, April, oh, I'm sorry, go back here, October, November 20th. There we go, and you've got that decline there, which is indicated and shown right here. So, what does this all mean? Again, exactly, well, I suspect what we're going to see is, it's tough to say. I'm not quite sure if we're going to stay in the same gold to silver ratio, which is going to go higher first. It appears that the gold to silver ratio is kind of steadying out right now, like I said, around 75 to 1. Not hitting its low of 60 to 1. Seems to be going back up again, that discrepancy, but it's, you know, kind of backed off here a little bit. I'm waiting to see what goes up first. Will gold go up first, or will silver go up first? Which is going to tighten up the ratio first? Give me your opinion down in the comments below. You've looked at these charts. Let's get some fresh ideas on this. Well, I'm going to move along from the charts here, and again, we didn't really explain what's happening, but as far as the gold and silver ratio charts. However, I feel that we're going to see gold prices explode upwards first before we see silver explode upwards, and then silver will play catch up like it did before, tightening up that ratio. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think. And let's go along to articles here. Yesterday was a long video, folks. I apologize. It was almost an hour. I didn't even know I could talk that long. I guess I can. Well, let me take a sip of coffee real quick, because when you talk a lot, my mouth gets dry. And as I said, good black coffee. I like this chart. I've shown it before. Ranking asset classes by historical returns. I'm curious to see where 2021 is going to end up. However, let's look at the different REITs, stocks, U.S. small cap stocks, T-bills, emerging market stocks. It's kind of showing worst performing to best performing. 2020, gold really was the best performing asset out there as far as an asset class. 21.9% in 2020, but that's not surprising given what we had going on in 2020. However, let's take a look down here during its worst times. So, well, we can go really back quite a bit like that. 85, really terrible. 86, 87, kind of didn't perform well. 88, 89. This is really an interesting chart, and it's called, I'm going to show you how you can get there so you can look at it yourself, the visual capitalist, because you need to kind of look at it long enough to get the visual. So, and I'm just bouncing around here showing you some things. It's done by Visual Capitalists, and it's called Ranking Asset Classes by Historical Returns, 85 through 20. I like their other stuff. If you get a chance, make sure you click their link right here and hop around to their other, what do they call it, visualist, capitalist type things. Really, really cool, super cool site. And let's just go back to 19 pre-closures, I should say, pre-2020 closures. Still not a bad return, 15.9%. But when you look at U.S. large cap stocks, you can't blame people for being there at 28.5%. And really, that was this, I think, was the end of the best years of the stock market that we'll see in a little while. Now, I could be wrong. Like I said, never underestimate the power of the Fed and the fact that they've got the printing press. But, you know, I think this is the end of seeing these kind of returns on stocks. Again, not sure quite what to expect for 2021. And let's move down here and take a look at, where is it? Again, gold. Let's go back to, let's see if we can hit our markets. 1980. No, it doesn't go back as 1980. Let's hit our first bull market here. That started, in my opinion, in 2000. Gold, absolutely rock bottom right here. Probably the best time to buy. I think gold was at sub $400 at that point. It's slowly moving up a little bit. Again, maybe is lower than 300, touch below 300 during this period, but starts to move up a little bit. You can see it has what is it, a negative 2.4% return, negative 1.7 in 99, negative 9.5. And negative 0.4, and then things start to move. 2002 was a big game changer. This was the beginning of our bull market right here. Again, remember, we went from 0 to 30 to 100 miles per hour right here in 2002. However, competing against these other investments, these other vehicles, asset classes, gold didn't do quite well, 1.4%. However, but you start to see it to pick up here, and you start to see it in this range. This is running through our entire bull market. There's gold right there, 5.5%, and we get up to our 2012. Gold was 2011 was probably the best performing asset out there, even at 5.5%, considering where everything else was. Again, this was after the 2008 was the financial crash. Look at where gold's at too. As far as comparative against other asset classes, 5.4%. Still pretty good in comparison. Not a great return, but comparatively speaking, not bad at all. But it's hard not to look at that 21.9% return right there and think about, I don't think it's going to be there in the 2021 charts. If I was going to say anything, it's probably going to be, I believe stocks and stuff are going to be up here. Bonds may be up here as well. And gold will be quite a bit less, because it did go down after 2020. Good site. Highly recommend you put them on your bookmark bar and take a look at some of their stuff here. Hey, I found another pretty cool website that I'm going to start pulling economic news off of. Didn't see anything on here directly to read or go over. The only problem that I see with this site is that the articles are extremely lengthy, and if I start reading one to you, folks, it's going to be an hour or two deal. So I'll try to read these things beforehand, hit some of the highlights, and suggest you read them on your own. But excellent site here, American Institute for Economic Research. You know, I've been looking at it on and off for quite some time because I've asked people out there to provide me. I didn't get I got this from a friend actually, but I've asked people to provide me, you know, some other sources and stuff other than the corporate news single narrative source. Someone sent me this a while back ago, a friend of mine, and I appreciated it. It really is a great economic news site and opinion and all that. What did I see down here I thought was interesting? Again, I'm not going to read it to you. However, again, I recommend that you bookmark this bar right here. And when you get time to open up your mind and think about it, it is a pretty heady website, and you got to kind of put your brain into it when you're reading this. But this is a pretty good article. Economics explains the Taliban's rapid advances. I found this extremely interesting for you folks out there that you know, like economics, because, you know, economics plays a role in what we're doing here, buying and selling precious metals. So does politics. That's why I include it in my talks here when I'm talking. And economics of religion, which talks about, you know, maybe the appeal of the Taliban. Interestingly enough, the article in essence says that people respect very strict religions, and he points out the Mormons, he points out the Hasidic Jewish folks, and a lot of other folks that have extremely strict religions, but have a high amount of people that are involved with them. I'll let you get into that, but again, great article on economics. This explains the economics of the Taliban's rapid advances, if you really want. No, it's not about, people like to think that wars are altruistic and it's there to save this person, save the girl, save the women, save the poor Afghani guy that helped the American. You know, it never was about that. It is still not about that. And the same thing with the Taliban. It's not about helping the people. It's all about power, control, and money. No war has ever been fought for altruistic reasons. That's for sure. They spin it that way, but it's always about power and money and who controls it. And that's why I thought this article was pretty good right here. It kind of gives you the power and money behind what just happened. And again, good read. I'll start looking at this site more and looking for any articles they have about precious metals. Let's take a look at ZH, and as you know, ZH, you have to have half a brain to kind of figure out what's probably right and what's probably wrong, but that's no different than any other website. And what I love about ZH is they provide you an alternative viewpoints, alternative opinions, and they leave it up to the smart people to figure out who may be right or who may be wrong, unlike corporate media that feeds you that single narrative. Not too much in precious metals here. And Andrew McGuire and Mark Faber, I didn't read this because they're more trying to sell their product right there. So I try to, and again, I'm here to sell my product as well, but when the intention seems to be primarily about that, I try to avoid the articles. Equities versus bond volatility, shot down an Iranian drone. Of course, what does this have to do with precious metals? Well, anytime that the tensions get really high as far as wartime goes, and you know that we maybe will be in Syria next, maybe all those troops that left Afghanistan are going to be set on the Syrian and Iraqi border. So, and what does that do to the price of gold and silver? Well, it's going to cause the metals to go up quite a bit, actually. Black swan events. I don't know if you can call this a black swan event. I mean, we're like half expecting something to happen with the Russians, Iranians, or the Syrians, and the United States somehow. Again, we just got out of Afghanistan. At some point, these generals are going to get bored, so they got to have something to do. Let's go down here. Peak retail season, not too much. This is not good either. That whole region just seems like it's going to blow up at some point. And again, precious metal prices will benefit from that. What else to go here? Not too much. Again, mostly stuff I don't think that really, well, all this stuff has an effect on the economy. No less. I can't talk about everything here. And boy, that's a shame right there. I feel bad for these small landlords. I don't feel bad. Well, hold on. I shouldn't say that. I feel bad for these small landlords that are paying mortgages and not getting any rent. You know, people that invested in real estate and smartly. You know, there are a lot of people went out and bought rentals and stuff, and that's how they make their income. How badly they've been screwed by this administration and unconstitutional laws just blows my mind, folks. We're living in a whole different time here. And again, you got to speak up. I do. I do it publicly, obviously, here. You have to speak up. You have to say something. You have to be vocal. And it's all about the Constitution, folks. You got to follow the Constitution. The Constitution is good for everyone, left, right, and middle, as long as they follow it. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to skip out at ZH. Not too much to talk about again there. Kind of not too much gold newsy stuff here. Turk tells KWN gold has defeated the lace attack. Gold Money founder and GATA consultant James Turk tells King World News. I love King World News. I've been off and on looking at him for years, and James Turk. These guys are the cheerleaders of the gold industry for sure, gold and silver industry. They've been cheerleading gold for, even when it was at its darkest, dankest moments, you could turn on James Turk and King World News and they'd make you feel good about the price of metal. So it's going to be $5,000 tomorrow. All right, well, I might be exaggerating, but they are I don't want to call them perma-bulls because that's always not a nice name to call, but they are the cheerleaders for the industry for sure. They talk about the takedown fails as gold snaps above 1,800 and mining stocks soar 5%. And I agree with that. It was that I think that takedown kind of failed. On the other hand, assuming that it was the central bankers, whether it was BIS, World Central Bankers, Fed, whatever, assuming that it was, now we are back again assuming that the recent paper attack failed. Now we're assuming that they're stupid. Now we're assuming that they're not a few chess moves ahead. As much as it seems obvious that the takedown failed, maybe this is exactly what it was supposed to do. Maybe it was just supposed to be a temporary takedown. What reasons could that be? Well, maybe it was a way to lay off these paper derivatives and turn it into real precious metals. Maybe it was a way for short positions to get out and turn it into real physical metals. What we do know is that physical metal is that's the goal here, man, and that's what they're all looking to own. At some point. If you believe that markets are manipulated, and I am certain that they are, I'm pretty damn certain. I'm not pretty. I'm certain that they are. Smarter guys than me, like Ted Butler from Ted Butler Research, shows how they are. GATA.org. These people right here, all these folks right here will tell you, Ron Paul as well, that markets are manipulated by the government. So we all know it, okay? And the point is that if you believe that the markets are manipulated and they're manipulating them down, monkey hammering them down for quite some time now, then you also have to realize that there's an opposite side of that play. And what does this mean? Well, JP Morgan basically got fined almost $1 billion, 900 something million dollars for spoofing markets. Their traders got. I'm not sure if the traders are going to jail. Actually, I think we just read something that said that they may end up going to prison for spoofing the markets. Jamie Dimon and his henchmen, the CEOs of that company, of course, will serve no time and made big bonuses from these guys illegally spoofing this market. Again, as I've always said, too big to fail, too big to jail. So those guys benefited. Their traders will go to jail. But what did JP do, really, basically? They ran these markets down. They kept that short position in silver for a long time. And meanwhile, what were they doing? Every time they'd hit that short, they'd fill those positions. JP Morgan has, my understanding, one of the hugest warehouses of silver, real silver, physical silver, in the world. Or I won't say in the world, but they are one of the top holders of physical silver in vaults right now for a private company like that, private institution. So what did they do? They shorted these markets for years. They went and they probably took their worthless paper and all that stuff, and they ended up buying physical with it and filling up their vaults with physical. So JP is no longer a short position. They've already been fined. Their CEOs didn't go to jail, even though they should have, in my opinion. And they paid their dues. They paid their almost $1 billion fine because they made $4 billion then probably, and they're probably going to make another $40 billion because what are they doing? They're waiting for that market to turn. Once those other short positions are out there, JP is in a position to make billions. Trillions? I don't know. Why have billions or trillions when you have billions? So anyway, that position is completely reversed now. Didn't mean to go long-winded on you. And while we were looking at this, New Orleans 2021 is coming up October 19th to 22. If you live in that area, I highly recommend that you go and attend this event. Some really, really smart people here, and some very constitutional and liberty-minded folks as well, which I'm all about. Well, let's move over here to yesterday's video. I'm going to talk about a few comments that I've seen here. And yesterday was about U.S. Eagles banned as legal tender. I got a little confused on how I started that topic. The topic was actually started I did 2 videos on last Friday, and I went to look at the second video and I couldn't find the comments that started yesterday's topic about eagles being used to get out of the country, where you could use them for their face value 50. Turns out it was here. We'll take a look here. Let me just go back one and do a little backy button there. Gold. There we go. Gold confiscation. Buy silver now. This is the question that kind of started it all. I think it was by Sarge, and let me just do that. Newest first. Sarge 271 says, Brian, I agree with you. Customs won't let you walk through with 50 gold eagles. By law, the holder can declare them at face value legally. So yes, in practice, I think it's going to be confiscated. Yep, you were absolutely right, Sarge. That's kind of what I was saying. Donald Robinson had mentioned that Andy Scheckman, Miles Franklin CEO, covers the issue, taking $50 eagles to Canada. Yeah, you can take up to $10,000 in lawful money. You can take up to $250 gold eagles, not 1 penny more. Donald, that's kind of what my video yesterday was all about, because I don't think that's good advice from Andy Scheckman from Miles Franklin, because and again, I went over that. I went over entirely that, yeah, that may be the law, that may be the legal case, but I proved and showed some cases and points where the government said that's not true, and IRS said screw the Constitution, screw that law, and they actually put a guy, they put a guy in prison for 15 years for following the advice that Andy Scheckman just suggested here. And again, if you missed yesterday's video, you can watch that as well. And yesterday's video was about silver and gold eagles banned as legal tender. I caught a little flack there because I did an hour video, and then talking about the silver and gold eagles being banned was probably tucked away at 3/4 into it. I do apologize for that, but hey, it is what it is. Where was I? Silver and gold eagles banned. Well, let's take a look here. I'm gonna quickly pop this and look at. Oh God, I love that cam. And I'm going to take a sip of coffee while I'm scrolling down here. Listen, if you get dizzy watching me scroll, turn your head the other way. So let's go down here and just take a look at it. And I'd like to thank all the viewers here for watching. Okay. There you go. See, Minka mentioned that if you post a title like Silver and Gold Eagles Band, you might want to address that up front. I apologize for that, sir. And there's really no way to address it up front. I kind of do talk about when I'm going to do things in the show. I'm going to talk about this or that or this, but not always. And as I mentioned here, it's a rough balance. Limited space to get people to pay attention to a thumbnail. And if you want views, folks, you got to have a good thumbnail. But I don't like to make a thumbnail that has nothing to do with the topic or the video. And I see that on YouTube, and it really pisses me off too. So I make sure I stay on topic, even though the thumbnail is kind of vague and it's small. But the reason it's small and vague because these little windows, when people are searching for videos, are so small that the more words I put in there, it looks like a bunch of gibberish. So it is a damned if you do and damned if you don't thing. Appreciate you watching, though, WD, and I really appreciate your comments. I'm sorry, C. Minka, too. And let's go down through here. Yeah, it is a beautiful shot, Rob. Appreciate that, and all you folks. Dr. Dogwell Hunt says, would the merchant accept $50 gold coins have to report the $50 or the true value of coin? Well, as I mentioned yesterday, Dr. Dogwell Hunt, the Constitution says you can spend it for $50 because it's legal tender. However, the IRS, which overrides the Constitution, incidentally, the IRS says you cannot. Okay, so I don't know how that works, but Constitution says yes, IRS says no, and when it goes to a federal court, the judges will rule with the IRS, not the Constitution. They've already done it. Don't ask me why or how. Michael Cool says, dislike rather than hate. I agree with you, brother. I got to get that word hate out of my... There's very few things in life I hate. I like even vegetables that I don't like. Oh, gosh. Sorry about that. I almost choked when I laughed. Tree Climber, the Keynesian versus Austrian monetary theory battle that never ends. Yeah, absolutely true. We do have some serious issues with younger folks out there that don't understand the difference between crony capitalism and free market capitalism. They're confusing what we're seeing in the U.S. right now is free market capitalism. It's not. It's crony capitalism, where corporations, major corporations and media are in bed with the government. That's crony capitalism. That is not real capitalism. Real capitalism is when these little Marxist young folks that run around trade video games with each other unhindered. That's real capitalism. But I don't think they got that figured out quite a bit, and I did oversimplify it. Thanks for mentioning that, Tree Climber. I appreciate it. Joey from Seattle, what's up, dude? Pfizer jab approved to use on military. Yeah, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into the 2020 closures and the VI ZS because again, I think that the YT gods kind of follow this stuff. Their algorithms do for sure. They'll stuff you somewhere. Kevin, thanks for watching, Joe. I appreciate it. And let me get a sip of coffee. You always remind me of that. My understanding is if the value of the coins is not over 10 grand, one can leave the States with no problem. That's true. They want, again, the point was that some folks are got bad information from Andy Schechtman, of all people, one of them, that you can take this stuff out of the country and use the face value. Again, technically, legally, they're right, but there's a gentleman that's spending 15 years in a federal penitentiary because a federal judge ruled with the IRS instead of the Constitution. So do you want to beat that battle? Do you want to go after that battle? I wouldn't suggest it. The best thing we can do is get these idiots out of office and get people in there that understand this kind of stuff. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for bringing up. Old Coasty, please don't digress. I do it enough for us already. Please consider doing a show about various price forms of metal when buying them from a customer. For instance, silver rounds versus common bullion coins. I've done this quite a few times, Old Coasty. It's in a bunch of my videos in the past. In fact, I almost did it every other day. I'll start reading them again here. If you start following the videos, I'll start doing the wholesale spreads and what customers should expect to pay. But during my videos, I basically tell you pay no more than this, pay no more than this. And really, if you're not paying any more than that, whatever product you can buy that's recognizable is your preference. It's cool. I don't think there's any good or bad products as long as it's recognizable in the industry and you're not paying a ridiculous amount of money. Thanks for watching, Old Coasty. Jan says that when Russia expelled the Jewish people in the late 90s, I remember they took their gold out. Yeah, well, gold and silver and diamonds and all that stuff throughout World War II. Whenever people have to flee, they take their valuables with them. And the nice thing is that, well, gold and that kind of stuff was fairly easy to hide and fairly easy to take with you. Whereas dollars, at the time in inflationary Germany and stuff, when they were fleeing the country, the German mark in World War I wasn't doing too well. I'm not sure about World War II, not as well either. But again, they took their wealth in forms of gold, silver, and platinum. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that. And yeah, JBF Mastering. Yeah, we're going to get into some politics here, folks. So if you're not interested here, you may want to fast forward a little bit. JBF Mastering, I'm going to go into that. I saw a comment up here that I'm going to answer from another gentleman. One of the best videos to date. Hey, thanks. You're going to make my head get big here. I can feel it swelling right now from that comment, Sierra Legacy. Thanks for watching. D-Man, I appreciate all your support. I really do. And I agree with you. Judges do legislate from the bench. That's exactly kind of what we got going on right now in today's world. It gets worse and worse, too. It's pretty scary. Anyone that says judges don't have political bias is full of shit. Literally, full of shit. And again, that's my opinion. I think when you get higher up the ranks, that political bias is less obvious, but anyone says they don't have it and it doesn't come into their rulings is full of shit. That's my opinion. Maybe back in the old days, back in George Washington days, where you had solid characters out there that did the right thing, but I don't see them too often today. John says you do realize a libertarian is just a Republican that smokes pot. Join the no party affiliation. I disagree, John. I'm going to get into that a little bit above here, but you know what? I have met the Libertarian Party is, in my opinion, Republican Party's old, man. Republican Party's been around for a long time. Democrat parties have been around a long time. The Whigs, I don't know where they went. So, but Libertarians have only been around since, I mean, really in the 70s. They were like a brand new. They were founded from the socially liberal. Gosh, I forget the name of the whole thing. But basically, they were economic liberals, kind of, and constitutionalists. And that's how the Libertarian Party started. And in my opinion, the Libertarian Party is the principles are great. The platform is great, far better. It takes the best of both the Republican platform and the Democrat platform and combines the best thing of what both parties claim they are. And they do it. Libertarians walk the walk and they talk the talk. Libertarians are truly socially liberal, unlike the Democrats who claim to be socially liberal. And libertarians are actually fiscally conservative, unlike the Republicans who claim to be fiscally conservative. So libertarians walk the walk and talk the talk. They're socially liberal, fiscally conservative, and I find that most people are, and most people find that appealing. Most people in life are liberal about, hey, let people do what they want to do with their lives. You don't have to tell people what to do. That's what the Constitution is all about. So as long as people don't harm anyone else, who cares what they do? Who cares who they marry? Who cares who they have sex with? Who cares any of that stuff, providing they're not harming anyone else? And that's what socially liberal is being about. That's what Democrats claim to be, but they're not in any way, shape, or fashion. In fact, I'd even make the case they're the opposite. And Republicans claim to be fiscally conservative, but they are not. They've proven it over and over and over. They're not fiscally conservative, even under the last administration. They were willing to give away all this free money. There's nothing. The only fiscal conservative in Washington, D.C. is Rand Paul, okay? True fiscal conservative and true constitutionalist. I'd be hard-pressed to find any others there that walk the walk instead of talking the talk. Rand Paul does, and he is kind of a libertarian. Again, I have gotten political here, and here's the other comment. Hurley Semiento, appreciate you watching. Again, just to reference what you're saying, sad to hear you vote libertarian. Now, I'm sad to hear that you guys keep voting the lesser evil parties, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. I think that a lot of Democrats and Republicans on both sides are good people. I mean, they really are. I have friends on both sides of this aisle here. I think they're good people overall. I think they have their best intentions in the world. I think Democrat supporters, not the party, are social liberals. I think they believe that people should be able to do what they want, providing they harm no one. But their party doesn't walk that walk, even though their supporters may believe that talk. And the same thing with Republicans. Republicans are starting to learn that there's nothing fiscally conservative about your party. There's nothing there's nothing not warlike about the party as well. We've been pumping into that military-industrial complex for how many years? Cost us how many boys and girls out there? Dead, maimed, and again, altruistic reasons to go free the people of Iraq. Bullshit. It was all about money and power, and I talked about that before. So why would I vote for either one of these parties? Now, I admit the Libertarian Party is, it's new. It's the 1970s. To me, I view the Libertarian Party, I view the Republican and Democrat Party as nasty, old, corrupt parties that have done nothing for their people in quite some time. However, they control the show. I view the Libertarians as young, idealistic, and sometimes even appearing just a bit silly. However, again, it's a new movement, and if there's any movement out there that I see has a serious platform, walks the walk and talks the talk, it's Libertarians. And as I said, people like to say, well, conservatives like to say, well, if you voted the Libertarian, then you ended up putting the current administration guy in office. And I don't believe that at all. I believe that if we had voted Libertarian, Rand Paul, back in 2016, that he'd probably still be in office today, and we wouldn't have this guy in office. And as far as elections go, and are they fair or not? I watched Ron Paul in 2008 have the Republican Party steal the election from him, literally steal it. Talk about fraudulent, well, I don't want to say the word, but talk about fraudulent. Other than this last election, in my opinion, talk about fraudulent. It happened in 2008, and unfortunately, it happened against. Say what you want about the guy Bernie Sanders, but the primary then was fraudulent as well. So again, I'm going to get off this, but for someone to accuse libertarians or anybody else of not voting for one of the lesser evils, they really have to take a look at themselves and say, hey, listen, maybe I caused this. And unfortunately, I think that's true, Hurley. But listen, I agree to disagree, and I really appreciate your comments there. I just kind of wanted to clarify that comment. And again, I'm a bit political on this stuff, but you want to change the world, you can't keep voting for the same old idiots. That's just my opinion. Let's move along to best deals out there. Best deals out there. Nothing's changed. I've got some great product coming in. I've got 1 ounces, 10-ounce bars, and other products. And I've got I advertise beat APMEX, SD, and JM Bullion. They're big online companies. I respect them because they're still out there and none of them have gone bankrupt. And they're unlikely to, I think. However, my whole thing is about buying local. Keeping that money local and not going outside the area. Best deals right now are any silver items that you can pay less than $4 an ounce premium for, and the closer you get to that $2 and $3 mark, the better off you are. And what kind of products are those? Who cares? As long as it's recognizable by the industry. And when I say recognizable by the industry, I don't mean recognizable by you, not recognizable by your friend or your buddies in the silver, your other buddies. You have to buy products that are recognizable by industry people across the country. And if you're doing that and you're buying it for a low premium, you're doing a good job. That applies to gold and silver. Best deals out there for silver are less than $4 per ounce. Best deals out there for gold are less than $100 per ounce. If you can get it for $80 or less premium, you're doing wonderful. And as I said, I am all about keeping that money local, jobs, business, community. When people come in and spend money at my store, I spend that money at the local tackle shop. I spend it around town. My employees do. They rent from local landlords. They actually pay their rent too, by the way. And they spend around town. So, this money stays down here in Florida, my community, and it keeps the community vibrant. If you're shipping your money out of state, and as good as these online companies are, you're doing a disservice to your community. Now, the big argument I hear is, hey, Brian, I have a hard time finding a good dealer out there. Hey, listen, it doesn't mean that you're going to find one in your town. You may have to drive an hour or two. At the very least, keep it in your state, folks. Take an hour or two drive, because even if you're buying it online, you're going to have to sell this stuff someday, and you're not going to want to ship it. So you need to establish a relationship with some local dealers if you can. If your local dealers aren't being real competitive and they're a little concerned that they don't want to match the prices of the big online sellers, explain to them that have them give me a call. I'll give them a great case why they should and how much more business they'll get by matching or beating the local or the online guys. It's great business, folks, trust me. Well, that's really about it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. Call me anytime at 954-493-8811 between the hours of 10 and 4. If you live local, I can help you with your precious metals business. If you don't live in my area, please just send me a comment in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you and try to answer your questions. Hey, thanks for watching. Y'all have a great day, and talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.